Chapter 1423. As Huamin ran, she vaguely heard the footsteps behind her quicken. She panicked even more. She had never stayed at GK until this late, so she wasn't familiar with most of the switches. She could only remember the layout of the top floor. But it was so late and the elevator was broken. Who could go up to the top 30 floors? Security? No, GK's security guards patrolled in pairs to prevent accidents. Could it be that Mr. Chin was back? The top floor only had the president's office, conference room, lounge area, and VIP lounge. Normal employees couldn't go to these places. Could it be that Chin Chu was back in the middle of the night? But the problem was that Chin Chu didn't call in advance, so he didn't know she was working overtime. Could it be that he asked Bella? Huamin had a lot of questions as she ran. She suddenly had a bold idea. She wanted to stop and see who this person was. What if it was a suspect who came in to steal something? That way she could see what he looked like and file a case tomorrow. With this thought, Huamin slowed down and stopped running. She forced herself to turn around and see who it was. From the sound of the footsteps, it was probably one person. Because if there were two people, their footsteps would be messy. If the suspect was alone, Huamin might not be afraid. If the person had a chest weapon, then it wouldn't be too late to run. Chin Chu had a stun baton in his office drawer. It wouldn't be a problem to use it for self-defense. Huamin stopped at the edge of the hallway. Next to her was the conference room and further in was the president's office. Just then the footsteps got closer and closer. She started to feel uneasy, and even her breathing became rapid. The voice-activated lights in the hallway suddenly stopped working. Huamin ran for so long, but the lights didn't turn on. Luckily they were in the central district. Even though it was dark, there were still neon lights from the street and the lights from the building next door. Huamin held the high-beam flashlight on his phone tightly in his hand. When the person turned around and reached the end of the corridor, Huamin saw a figure. It was a tall man. The two of them stood at the end of the corridor. There was a distance of about 18 meters between them. Because it was too dark, the man walked over and approached Huamin. She suddenly raised the flashlight in her hand and shone it. She almost screamed in fright. It was Huasiqian's face. But it was different from usual. How was it different? Usually Huasiqian was all smiles. When he saw Huamin, his expression was very relaxed. However, the Huasiqian in front of him had a ferocious look in his eyes. It seemed to be a wolf that was about to catch its prey. The look in his eyes made Huamin's hair stand on end. She wasn't even sure if this person was Huasiqian, or if he looked like Huasiqian. She had a feeling that if Huasiqian caught her, then it would be over. At this thought, she immediately reacted and ran. Huasiqian's footsteps also became faster. In this quiet night, he was able to quietly cut off GK's security system and countless cameras on the screen. He turned off the voice-activated lights and elevators, just to surround Huamin. Was it easy for him? Huamin was panting as he ran in front of Huasiqian. He felt like his heart was going to jump out of his chest. Huasiqian, on the other hand, was chasing him more and more intensely. There was an evil smile on his face. Mew. Tonight let's play cat and mouse, okay? If I catch you then. Huasiqian licked his lips. He couldn't wait any longer. After Huamin ran out of the corridor, he had nowhere to go. If he wanted to go downstairs, he could only take the stairs. However, that was the direction Huasiqian was at. The elevator malfunctioned. In the end, she gritted her teeth and entered the president's office. She knew that once she entered the room, it meant that she was at the end of her rope. Once the person behind her caught up, it would be a head-on confrontation. Chapter 1424. Seeing Huamin enter the president's office, Huasiqian smiled triumphantly. He knew that once Huamin entered one of the rooms, he would be like a turtle in a jar. It would be impossible for him to get out. He walked to the door of the president's office and looked at the half-closed door. After hesitating for a moment, he reached out and pushed the door open. A folder fell from above, but it didn't hit him. This was a trick that middle school students used to prank their teachers or other classmates. Usually they would put a blackboard eraser on top of it. He didn't expect Huamin to use such a childish trick. Not to mention that he wasn't hit. Even if he was, what could he do? It was just a folder, it couldn't hurt him at all. His Mion was so adorable. Huamin pushed the door open proudly and walked in. It was as if he could see the dawn of victory. It was as if this game of cat and mouse had already been decided. At this moment, Huamin was hiding under Chin Chu's desk in his office. She held the stun baton tightly in her hand. She knew that if Hua Xiqian went crazy she wouldn't be a match for him. She was only 160 centimeters tall, while Hua Xiqian was 180 centimeters tall. They were 20 centimeters apart and Hua Xiqian was definitely very strong. She had never been so scared before. She was really scared, not for anything else, but for Hua Xiqian's beast-like gaze tonight. She felt that if she was caught tonight she would be prey and would be at the mercy of others. Huamin listened to Hua Xiqian's footsteps, then closed his eyes and prayed silently. Hua Xiqian might have been too proud and underestimated Huamin. He was so focused on the mechanism on the door that he forgot about his feet. When his feet were pricked by something he realized that there was something underneath. He stopped, lowered his head and took out a medium-sized rivet from the bottom of his leather shoe. However, it pierced through the bottom of his shoe and hurt his feet. Because he put all his weight on his feet when he lifted his feet, he didn't pay attention and stepped on it subconsciously. At this moment he finally understood that the little mechanism on his head was to distract him. The real mechanism was here. He felt a slight tingling pain on his feet, but that wasn't the most important thing. The most important thing was that his left foot that stepped on the rivet began to numb. He suddenly realized that Huamin must have done something to the rivet. Hua Xiqian wanted to eat her tonight. But he was tricked by the little girl. He sighed slightly and didn't walk in. He knew how strong the anesthetic Huamian made herself was. When he was Huamian mean he was talking president and president was to Huamins. It means Huamin, Huamins's. During experiments, a small dose was enough to knock out 5 adult white mice. Hua Xiqian felt that if he continued to confront Huamin, his movements would be slow and he would be the one at a disadvantage. Therefore Hua Xiqian reluctantly pulled out the rivet on his foot and quickly turned to leave. Huamin finally opened her eyes when she heard Huamin's footsteps getting further and further away. Her heart was beating very fast and she was gasping for breath. Did he really go far away? Did he deliberately set up a smoke bomb to lure her in? He couldn't believe it. After waiting for 10 minutes and seeing that there was no movement, she immediately took out her phone and sent a WeChat message to Ni. Come to the office and pick me up. The elevator is broken. Take the stairs. Ni had just finished listening to the demo of his new album and hadn't gone to bed yet. When he received Huamin's WeChat message he didn't hesitate. He immediately drove to the company headquarters. Half an hour later the office door was pushed open. Sister Huamin, are you in there? Chapter 1425. Ni asked hesitantly as he looked around the dark office. Huamin crawled out from under the desk when she heard Ni voice. Oh my god sis. Are you playing hide-and-seek with me? Ni was shocked when she saw Huamin crawl out from under the desk. It's a long story, I'll tell you later, Huamin said as she turned on the lights. Then she saw the small nail that she had placed at the door. Huamin lowered her head and picked it up. There was still a bit of blood on it. Thank you for saving me. She carefully put the nail away and followed Ni downstairs. When they went to the security room it was just as Huamin thought. The security guard on duty didn't know what happened, but it seemed like the system had been hacked. The elevator, the security cameras and even the voice-activated lights in the hallway were all broken. Huamin walked out with a heavy heart. She briefly told Ni about what happened, but she didn't tell him that the person she saw was Hua Xiqian. She didn't tell him about that. Oh my god sis, you almost ran into a psycho. What if you were in danger? Ni was scared out of his wits. I'm fine now, aren't I? Huamin smiled. How can you still smile? What if that person didn't step on your nail? What would you have done? Ni felt scared for Huamin just thinking about it. The chances of that happening weren't high. What if that person didn't fall for it and wasn't drugged? Who knew what would happen to Huamin right now? Aren't we safe now? Plus, even though my little tricks are a little childish, they're all very useful. Huamin was very satisfied with the 2 little interlocking traps she designed at the door. This was a common psychological problem. Most people would pay attention to what's above their heads and ignore what's below their feet. After being taken away by the robbers, Huamin was very careful about her own safety. After all, she was the wife of the president of the largest financial group. It was normal for her to be targeted by criminals. Therefore, Huamian carried the super anesthetic she had developed with her on a silver needle. When she wore a white lab coat, the silver needle was in her chest pocket. When she wore casual clothes, she would hide it in her high heels. She added a small screw to the base of the silver needle and turned it into a rivet. which became her life-saving straw. It was originally meant to be used in case of an emergency, but who would have thought that it would come in handy tonight? If the person tonight wasn't Huamian, but some other woman, she would have been slaughtered. But why did Hua Xiqian suddenly appear? How did he know she was on duty tonight? Was it premeditated or was it a coincidence? Huamin had so many questions in her mind. She originally wanted to call the police, but she was afraid that if the police came, the media would be alerted and the company's reputation would be affected. She also couldn't ask Su Yu and the others to pick her up. Rumors would spread like wildfire. Xixin wasn't home, so only her little brother and I Yang came to pick her up. Sis, you must be hungry. I'll take you to eat something first. No, I'm not hungry. You can drive me back. I'll leave my car here. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Okay. Huamian was scared out of her wits. She felt weak all over, and I Yang drove Huamin back to South Hill Manor in his white Porsche Cayenne. Don't tell anyone about what happened tonight. I don't want people to know. I know, sis. Hey, you should go back and rest. You have work tomorrow. Sis, are you okay? You don't look well. Do you want to go to the hospital? And I Yang was a little worried. No, I'm fine. You should go. Drive slowly. Okay. After Anai Yang left, Huamin tiredly went upstairs. A young lady. Uncle Li heard her voice and walked out. His sudden shout startled Huamin. A young lady, do you want me to prepare a midnight snack? No. Huamin walked into her bedroom on the second floor with a pale face. She didn't even want to take a shower as soon as she walked in. She crawled into bed and covered her head with the blanket. Then he fell into a deep sleep. At 3 a.m, a familiar figure pushed open the door and walked in. He carefully lifted the blanket and gently kissed her. Help! Let go of me, let go of me. Huamin reacted so strongly that she almost jumped up. Chapter 1426. May it's me. Qin Chu shook her shoulders, trying to wake her up. Upon hearing his voice, Huamin seemed to wake up a lot. She froze for a second and then stared at Qin Chu's face. Qin Chu? She still didn't seem to be sure. What happened? Qin Chu frowned slightly, feeling that Huamin's reaction wasn't right. Honey, I missed you so much, sob. Then Huamin pounced on Qin Chu and tightly hugged his neck. She actually began to cry like a little girl who had been wronged for a long time. Qin Chu gently patted her back. Don't cry, I'm sorry I just came back and made you worry. After everything in T-City was settled, Qin Chu completely closed down the branch company in T-City. It was officially no longer in operation. He was very unhappy that he didn't find the crucial evidence in Jiang Linyue's case. However, at the same time he also discovered that Hua Xiqian's power in T-City was far more complicated than he thought. Qin Chu didn't want to keep going outside. After all, this was his main business. After thinking about it, he decided to close down the branch company first in case Hua Xiqian continued to do things. However, he didn't expect that after such a long delay, Huamin would actually cry. After hugging for a long time, Huamin was finally willing to let go of Qin Chu. Qin Chu took out a tissue from the bedside table and gently wiped her tears. Don't cry, your eyes will be swollen tomorrow. It's okay, my eyes aren't big anyway. It doesn't matter if they're swollen or not, Huamin said with a pout. Qin Chu couldn't help but laugh. But if you go out like this, the media will write that Mr. Qin beat up Mrs. Qin last night. Domestic violence. Upon hearing this, Huamin smiled through her tears. Don't cry, okay? Qin Chu gently stroked her delicate cheek. Huamin nodded. You don't even change your clothes when you sleep? Qin Chu then saw Huamin, who had gotten out of bed wearing a black suit. Heavens, what kind of rhythm is this? Was this a side effect that Dr. Hua, who was obsessed with cleanliness, had never happened before? I'm too tired. I worked overtime too late. I don't want to change. I'm too lazy to move. I'll help you change. No. Huamin's face reddened slightly. We've been married for so long yet you're still shy. Which part of your body haven't I seen before, Qin Chu said as he gently helped her take off her coat. Then he skillfully unbuttoned her shirt. Finally, the cream-colored panties. Huamin lowered her head and didn't make a sound. She let Qin Chu do all this. After taking off all her clothes, Qin Chu carried her into the bathroom and started bathing her in the warm water. Okay, I can do it myself. You can leave. After Huamin finished speaking, not only did she not see Qin Chu leaving, but he also began to take off his own clothes. Hey, 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 what are you doing? I'm taking a shower with you. I don't want to. Huamin covered her face with both hands, looking extremely embarrassed. Women don't mean what they say. The more you say you don't want it, the more you want it. I know you, honey. Then Chin-Chu walked towards the bathtub. Pervert. The water in the bathtub splashed up into waves. Inside the bathtub, the scenery was beautiful. Huamin could only find the only happiness and endless warmth in Chin-Chu's body. An hour later, Chin-Chu wrapped Huamin in a towel, carried her into the bedroom and carefully placed her on the big bed. Then he turned around and took out a white cotton nightgown from the closet and helped Huamin put it on. Honey, are you hungry? You're hungry? Chin-Chu turned his head and looked at her gently. I want to eat egg fried rice, the kind that's a little overcooked. Huamin pulled at the corner of the blanket with both hands and looked at Chin-Chu eagerly. Chapter 1427. Egg fried rice is easy, but it's a bit overcooked. Maybe. Chin-Chu hesitated for a few seconds. Is it difficult? Huamin smiled. Oh, it's not difficult at all. I'll definitely satisfy my wife's request. Chin-Chu put on his bathrobe and went straight to the kitchen to make Huamin fried rice. His actions startled the maids in the house. Sir, let us do it. The aunties stood in a row. It's okay, you guys go rest. I'll do it. Chin-Chu was in a rare good mood, so his tone was very gentle. Looking at the background of such a distinguished male host personally cooking fried rice for his wife, she thought to herself. The maids couldn't help but exclaim, Sir is so handsome. I think men who cook for women are the most charming. Yeah, Sir really loves his wife. I heard that they've been together since they were young. That's great. The happiest thing for a woman is to have a man who loves her deeply. Madam is so happy. Madam treats Sir really well too. Didn't you guys notice that Sir went on a business trip and Madam went to the company every day? Anyway, the two of them are a match made in heaven. Just looking at them makes me think they're a match made in heaven. When Chin-Chu went upstairs with the fried rice, Huamin was still playing games on his phone. Chin-Chu walked over with a bowl. Your Majesty, dinner is ready. Thank you, Your Majesty. It's no trouble. I'll cook for you every day as long as you want. That good? Huamin chuckled. Yeah, from now on you'll be in charge of the company and I'll cook for you at home. Ha, that's great. Huamin was in a good mood and took a bite. The taste was surprisingly good. Egg fried rice looked simple, but it was actually a skill. He couldn't cook too much, but he couldn't cook too little either. He had to control the intensity. The saltiness was also very good, and the fragrant smell of spring onions permeated the air. Huamin picked up the spoon and fed Chin-Chu a bite. Honey, you eat too. Chin-Chu slowly opened his mouth and took a bite. Then one bite after another they finished the plate of fried rice. Chin-Chu sighed. I feel like I've returned to the time when we first fell in love. I want to be in love with you forever. Huamin smiled sweetly. After brushing their teeth and rinsing their mouths, they lay on the bed. Chin-Chu held Huamin in his arms. Honey. Did you have a nightmare? Why do you ask? Huamin was surprised. Because when I came back to kiss you, your reaction was very intense, as if you were very scared. Huamin hesitated for a moment with a complicated look in his eyes. Then he slowly replied, Maybe it's because I haven't been sleeping well recently. I actually had nightmares. What did you dream of? It's a vampire or something. Anyway, it's very scary. Huamin didn't tell Chin-Chu what happened tonight. If he knew, he wouldn't feel at ease. He was already very tired and Huamin didn't want to distract him. Honey, how's everything going in T-City? It's all done. What about Jiang Linyue's body? We cremated her according to her parents' request and deposited her ashes in the cemetery over there. Her parents want to come back in a few days and take her ashes abroad for a proper burial. I really hope that the culprit can be brought to justice soon, so she can rest in peace. Huamin still didn't like Jiang Linyue, but death was the most important thing right now. No matter what she did, no matter how despicable she was, Huamin wouldn't tarnish her reputation one bit. The next morning, Huamin and Chin-Chu both went to GK. Before the morning meeting even started, Bella anxiously knocked on the door and walked in. President Chin, a young lady. What's wrong? Huamin looked up. There's a problem at GK Entertainment, you guys should go take a look. What's the problem? Huamin's nerves would subconsciously jump whenever he heard that there was a problem. What an eventful day. There was always an endless stream of trivial things to take care of. Before she left, Bella quietly whispered to Huamin, "A young lady, I think there's a mole there, you have to investigate." Chapter 1428. When Qin Chu and Huamin arrived, GK Entertainment was packed with people. It was as if something had really happened. "President Qin, a young lady. President Qin. A young lady, you're here." The director of GK Entertainment was very busy with the auditions and was rarely at the company. Therefore, Ni Yang's manager, Sister Ingzi, was half a housekeeper and could take care of a lot of things at the company. "What happened?" Huamin looked at everyone's serious expressions and asked curiously. "A young lady. There's a mole in our company," Sister Ingzi said righteously. Huamin was a bit surprised. Before she could speak, Sister Ingzi continued, "Isn't Ni Yang going to release a new album? It's already done and we're just waiting for the promotional period to pass. We agreed to release it on the 12th of next month, but last night, a user anonymously posted many songs from his album on a famous forum, including the title track. Who would buy his album when it's officially released? Everyone can just listen to the pirated version online." "Did you call the police to find out the IP address of the anonymous user?" Qin Chu asked. "We did, but it was useless. When we found it, we found an abandoned house that was already empty. Obviously this was planned in advance." "Then why are you so sure there's a mole?" Qin Chu looked at Ingzi and continued to ask. "President Qin, isn't it obvious? Only the arrangers and music directors know about Ni Yang's songs, but they've all worked with us for years, so they definitely wouldn't leak it. Not many people at the company know about it either. Other than me, Ni Yang, and a young lady, no one else knows about it. Oh wait, there's also the new assistant." Then Ingzi glanced at Qinjie in an unfriendly manner. Everyone turned to look at Qinjie as if she was the mole. Qinjie looked a bit scared. "It wasn't me, Chief." Qinjie looked at Huamin for help. "Sister Ingzi, it's too early to say anything. Let's wait until we find out more about this." "Do we still need to find out? Isn't it obvious? Nothing like this happened before she came here. Now even the album was leaked in advance, what the fuck?" Sister Ingzi spat her gum onto the ground. She was obviously targeting Qinjie. Sister Ingzi didn't like Qinjie for a long time. Ever since she found out that Ni liked this nurse, Ingzi, she's been against Ingzi for a long time. However, Ni Yang didn't listen and continued to hang out with Qinjie. This time, after Huamian left the hospital, this woman shamelessly followed her to the company. Sister Ingzi couldn't stand the sight of her. She often made things difficult for him at work, but of course, it was behind Ni Yang's back. Just then Ni Yang glanced at Qinjie and said, "President Qin, Sister Huamin, I believe in Jie. It's definitely not her." "Ni Yang, you can't judge a book by its cover. Don't be so sure. What if you get slapped in the face in the future?" Sister Ingzi was obviously angry. "No, I don't believe in the wrong person. Maybe something went wrong somewhere else. Anyways, it's not her. She wouldn't betray me." Then, Ni Yang ignored everyone's strange looks and walked over to hold Qinjie's hand. Qinjie looked at Ni Yang excitedly. "Don't be like this, everyone's watching. I just want everyone to see that we're in a relationship, so why can't we be open about it? Plus, President Qin won't restrict my relationship. I'm different from those fake idols. I won't say that I won't be in a relationship for the sake of my fans. I'm not that great. After the release of the new album, I'll announce our relationship." Ni Yang had never been so bold and persistent. "No, I don't agree," Sister Ingzi refused firmly. Chapter 1429. "I'm sorry, Sister Ingzi, but this is my personal business and I don't need your permission," Ni Yang said firmly. "Hey, you little brat, you're all grown up now? You're going against me for a woman, a mole who betrayed you? I'll say it one more time, Jie isn't a mole." Ni Yang was very protective of Qinjie. Qinjie's heart was pounding. No one had ever been so nice to her since she was a little girl. This kind of feeling was really very exciting. Ni Yang, on the other hand, was acting like a man as he stood beside Qinjie and said these words. Huamin was also moved. This brat had really grown up. He even knew how to protect his woman. Sister Ingzi was so angry that her face turned pale. "Ni Yang, you're messing around. President Qin, what should we do?" Bella asked anxiously. If the new album was betrayed, it would definitely affect the sales of the new album. Qin Chu glanced at Ni Yang. I heard that you wrote a lot of the songs yourself? Yeah. Then you should write a few more songs before the new album is released. And I Young was dumbfounded. If you can do it, I'll allow you to announce your relationship. That's it. Then Chin Chu grabbed Huamin's hand and turned around coolly. And I Yang's slightly troubled face turned into a smile. It wasn't hard to write a few more songs, but President Qin allowed him to announce his relationship. Well, and I Young felt like the sun was shining brightly in the world. Crazy, crazy, you're all crazy. You're crazy, and even President Qin is crazy, Ingzi scolded. When they walked out of the entertainment department, Chin Chu asked casually, "Honey, what do you think? I don't think Jie did it. Do you trust her that much?" Chin Chu asked faintly. It's not as simple as believing. If Xiao Jie is really a traitor and she only wanted to sell N.I. Yang's songs, then what is her purpose? To sell it for money? Wasn't it more beneficial to date N.I. Yang? Who would cut off their own source of income for such a small matter? If she was a mole that someone had planted long ago, then she would be too stupid to have been discovered less than a week after entering the company. Will you still be able to play in the future? That makes sense. Yes, but if you are worried, I can ask her to leave the company. Huamin never let his emotions get the better of him. He let Qinjie come because she was too stubborn. However, he ignored the fact that she might not be suitable for a big company like GK. After all, there were wars in the office. It wasn't any simpler than the hospital. No need. You only brought one person. Keep him. Chin Chu did not express any opinions from beginning to end, but he agreed with Huamin's analysis. It was very objective. It was very unlikely that Qinjie was a traitor. If everyone knew that she was a traitor, then how bad would she be? However, there was still one key question that couldn't be ignored. What if Qinjie wasn't a traitor? Then how did N.I. Yang's new songs get leaked? Were there other traitors in the company? After lunch, Huamin accompanied Chin Chu to the office to deal with the mountains of documents and financial reports. Qinjie knocked on the door and walked in. "Chief, are you free? I want to talk to you in private." Huamian paused for a second, then nodded. She got up and led Qinjie to the pantry next door. "What's wrong?" Huamin was curious when he saw Qinjie's serious expression. Chapter 1430. Chief, I'm sorry, I want to resign. I don't want to work here anymore. Why? Did someone say something bad about you? Huamin thought she was under too much pressure. Qinjie shook her head. No, I just feel like I'm too clumsy and can't help N.I. Yang. Instead, I'm always causing trouble for him. The truth is, I know that Sister Ingzi doesn't like me, and N.I. Yang always fights with Sister Ingzi because of me. I don't want that to happen. I should go back to my original position. You brought me here and no one dares to say anything to N.I. Yang, but they might talk behind my back. You and N.I. Yang are both people I care about the most, and I won't bring any negative influence to the two of you. Huamin remained silent after hearing what Qinjie said. Chief, I'm sorry, let me go, but I'm really not a mole, Qinjie explained with tears in her eyes. Huamin understood Qinjie's stubbornness. She didn't want him and N.I. Yang to be gossiped about. Therefore, she was willing to take the blame and leave. Jia, I respect your decision. I'll call President Wu later. You should go back to South Side. Huamin didn't give her a hard time. Qinjie smiled and walked up to Huamin and gave him a big hug. Chief, you'll always be my boss. I'll be waiting for you at South Side. After Qinjie left GK, the company returned to normal. N.I. Yang argued with Sister Ingzi for a long time because of this. After the finals of the Star of GK were broadcasted live on a famous TV station, the top 3 were announced. Another shocking insider story was exposed by the media. The winner, Qin Yuyao, was rigged with votes, and GK's higher-ups tolerated her shameless behavior. The runner-up and runner-up were also interviewed by the media and accused GK of being unfair. Moreover, the runner-up and runner-up announced on the spot that they wouldn't sign with GK, but with Imperial Star. This incident caused another uproar. Suyu was once again inexplicably dragged into a quarrel. If she went on Weibo's trending searches, she would see keywords such as GK's shady dealings, the champion manipulated votes, and Suyu is an outsider. Huamin asked Bella to instruct the public relations department to make a statement. It was to accept any investigation from any department to see if there was any manipulation of the votes. She even wanted to sue the media for spreading false rumors. Huamian felt like these people had gone too far. Inside the office, Jin Chu and Hua Mian weren't affected by this incident. They were already used to it. Running an entertainment company meant that one had to face all kinds of problems at any time. Hua Min leaned on the sofa, drinking warm milk and reading fashion magazines. Suddenly, a page caught her attention. It was a new white wedding dress with a deep V-neck that was charming and sexy. Wearing it on a foreign model, it looked high-end and classy. The four-leaf clover design was sewn with pearls on the surface of the wedding dress, making it look extremely luxurious. Hua Min was instantly moved. After being married for so long, they hadn't had a wedding ceremony, and she had never worn such a beautiful wedding dress. It was said that the happiest moment in a woman's life was the moment she put on a wedding dress. Originally, she had discussed with her in-laws and set the wedding date for May. However, her father-in-law's condition was complicated, and there were a lot of things going on at the company. She didn't know what would happen in May. Hua Min suddenly couldn't wait. She really wanted to hold her wedding with Jin Chu first. She was afraid that a long delay might lead to trouble. At this thought, she quietly closed the magazine and glanced at Jin Chu, who was working not far away. "Honey, yeah. Let's get married?" Jin Chu paused his hand that was holding the mouse and gently tilted his head to look at Hua Min. "So Mrs. Chin, are you proposing to me?" Jin Chu chuckled. Chapter 1431. Yes, Mr. Chin. So, do you want to marry me? What do I get out of marrying you? Mr. Chin turned on his tsundere mode again. A lot. For example? Jin Chu smiled. Hua Min said confidently, "Cooking. I can do that myself. Doing laundry. I have a washing machine at home. Warm the bed." Hua Mian threw caution to the wind, losing all her dignity. Mr. Chin thought about it carefully. "That's a good idea. But your skills aren't that good, you have to keep working hard." "Jin Chu, don't push it." Hua Min threw the magazine at him. Mr. Chin reached out his hand and grabbed it without hesitation. "Sounds good. So don't hesitate and say yes. I'm not a patient person. Didn't you say you'd wait until May? What, you can't wait anymore? You're so impatient, it's not like you." Jin Chu was confused that Hua Min suddenly wanted to hold a wedding. She was such a serious and calm person, why would she be so impatient? Was there something else going on? "I don't want to drag it out and have another woman steal you away, so I've decided to take the initiative. If that's what you want to say, then I won't argue with you." Jin Chu walked over with a smile. He picked Hua Min up from the sofa. It was a standard princess carry. "Then we'll get a designer to make a wedding dress and a formal gown." Jin Chu kissed the tip of her nose. "We don't need a designer, it'll take a long time. We'll just buy one from a bridal shop in the city." "That's easy." Jin Chu was surprised. "I just want a formality, I don't care about the details. Plus, I don't think the gown we design will be any better than the one from a bridal shop." "Okay, I'll listen to you. How about a diamond ring?" Jin Chu continued to ask. "GK Jewelry has some ready-made ones. We can pick a pair. Aren't you a picky eater?" Jin Chu was speechless. "Well, I'm not picky. The banquet will be held at one of GK's hotels." "Honey, what's wrong with you? Is there a need to rush our wedding?" "I'm not in a hurry. I feel that these are all ready-made. There's no need to be extravagant and wasteful." Ugh. Jin Chu was speechless. "Honey, please." Hua Min hugged his neck and acted like a spoiled child. "All right, whatever you say." In the end, Jin Chu was defeated by Hua Min. After some discussion, the two decided to do it right away. Regardless of the negative publicity surrounding the company, they first went to GK's jewelry stores to look at all kinds of jewelry. Then they went to a bridal shop to try out wedding dresses. Because they did not deliberately avoid the media, they were naturally photographed by many media outlets. That night, the headlines of all the major media outlets were, "GK's President Chin and his wife look at rings and try on wedding gowns. Looks like good news is coming." Some of the audience who didn't know the truth asked, "Aren't they getting married? What's going on?" The answer was that this time it was a wedding ceremony. After Hua Min and Jin Chu got their marriage certificate last year, they never held a wedding ceremony. For people of their status, it was impossible for them to keep a low profile and not hold a wedding ceremony. Originally, Old Master Chin said that they would hold a grand wedding in May. However, it seemed like Hua Min couldn't wait any longer and suddenly decided to get married. Everyone began to speculate about the date. Some media outlets even reported that GK's insiders said that the wedding would be held in half a month. No one knew if this was true or not. All of a sudden, it caused a huge uproar. Imperial Star headquarters, President Su, the second and third place winners of the Star of GK, who are also the first and third place winners, are clamoring to sign with our company. They're offering a very low price. Should we keep them? Chapter 1432. Tell them to get lost. I don't want money, I don't want it. I see you am not going to be a scapegoat. There was no way Su Yu would accept those two hot potatoes. Originally, the public suspected that he was the one who sabotaged Qin Chu and sabotaged GK. Now, if he really signed those two women, then he would really be convicted of the crime. Su Yu's rejection allowed those two women to sign with Hu Xiqian. Ever since the news of Qin Chu and Hu Mian's wedding was exposed, Su Yu had been in a bad mood. In the afternoon he was furious and scolded all the executives. President Su, you have to meet with President Gua of Shiha Media in half an hour. Assistant and said carefully. No, cancel. President Su, but I'm not seeing anyone today. I'm going out for a drink tonight, so don't bother me. After speaking, Su Yu picked up his jacket and left. Hu Corporation headquarters. After watching the news on TV, Hu Xiqian smiled. My little sister Mian. She's not that impatient anymore. Why are you doing this? Mo Shuai walked in wearing 7-inch heels, a white mink coat and a designer bag. Xiqian, did you see the news? Hu Xiqian picked up his teacup and carefully wiped it with a white handkerchief. It was as if he was wiping a piece of art. Hu Min and Qin Chu are going to have a wedding. Do you think they're trying to promote GK? Do we need to take the opportunity to release a movie or something to hype it up? Don't let them overshadow us. Ever since Hu Xiqian established Hu Entertainment, he rarely took care of it himself. Most of the time Mo Shuai took care of it. She loved Hu Xiqian to death. She knew that Hu Xiqian didn't love her, and she also knew that Hu Xiqian had someone else in his heart. There was no way he would marry her, but she was willing to do these things for him. It was as if being praised by him was a great blessing. Mian isn't that kind of person. She won't use a wedding to hype things up. So you're saying that she wants to have a wedding? Mo Shuai froze. Dreams are always beautiful, but reality is cruel. Plans can't keep up with changes. A wedding, haha, can it happen? Hu Xiqian smiled wickedly, and then there was a cracking sound. The delicate teacup in his hand shattered into pieces. Instantly, bright red blood flowed down from Hu Xiqian's hand. To be able to crush a cup with his bare hands, one could see how strong he was. Xiqian, you're bleeding. Mo Shuai was scared out of her wits and wanted to bandage his wound. Mian Mian Mians, Hu Mians Hu Mian 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 Mian, S Mian Mian Huaps. In just one night, news of Hu Min and Qin Chu's wedding spread throughout the city. It became the hottest topic of the night, and it even flooded WeChat moments. There was even a small literary fan who wrote an article called 7 Years Later, I'll Still Be Waiting for You. The article glorified Qin Chu and Hu Mian's love story. It said that they separated because of a misunderstanding when they were young, and that they got married 7 years later. It wrote many beautiful stories. No one knew if they were true or not, but many people were touched. After reading it, Hu Mian was almost touched by her own words. On WeChat, Jiang Shaowei and Zhu Lingling discussed the details of the wedding with her. Qin Chu, on the other hand, was in his study looking at all the preparations for the wedding, from the hotel venue to the red wine and champagne that the guests would drink. He was carefully selecting everything. Seductive foxed Hu Xiqian was drinking with a group of rich heirs. Surprisingly, Su Yu was there as well. However, only Wei Liao, Tang Chuan and a few of Tang Chuan's female companions were in Su Yu's private room. They bumped into each other in the narrow corridor. Hu Xiqian stared at Su Yu's face and smiled. Mian is going to have a wedding. Don't you want to do something? Chapter 1433. Su Yu was instantly enraged. He grabbed Hu Xiqian's collar and pushed him to the corner of the room. Hu Xiqian, I'm telling you. I don't care what underhanded methods you use to deal with Qin Chu, that's your business. But if you dare to do anything to hurt Hu Min, I'll kill you. Su Yu hadn't been this angry in a long time, however he was enraged by Hu Xiqian's words. It wasn't that Hu Xiqian was powerful, it only meant that he cared too much about Hu Min. I was just joking, why are you so agitated? Hu Xiqian was still smiling. No matter how angry Suyu was, he didn't care at all. It was as if the person Suyu was scolding wasn't him. Suyu didn't want to say another word to Hua Xiqian, so he pushed him hard. Then he let go of his collar and went back to his private room. Hua Xiqian leaned against the wall and smiled strangely. It seemed like he wasn't the only one unhappy about Mion's wedding. Suyu was one of the victims as well. When he returned to the private room, Suyu's expression was still not good. He sat on the sofa and put a cigarette in his mouth. "What's wrong?" Tang Chuan asked when he saw that Suyu didn't look well. Suyu didn't say anything. Wei Liao also knew that Suyu wasn't in a good mood because Huamin was going to hold a wedding. Ahem. I heard that Huamin's wedding is in half a month, right? Tang Chuan looked at Wei Liao and asked. Wei Liao nodded. Holy shit, it's true, so soon? It seems like the media reports were right. Wei Liao's wife Jiang Shaowei had a good relationship with Huamin, so she knew the wedding date immediately. Half a month later, on the 28th of this month. It was indeed a little too fast. There was no foreshadowing before this. Suyu still didn't say anything. Tang Chuan reached out and placed his hand on Suyu's shoulder. Lord Su, give up this time. They're going to announce it to the whole world. Suyu took a deep puff of his cigarette, choking and coughing. Cough, cough, cough. When Wei Liao saw Suyu like this, he actually felt quite sad. Therefore he immediately changed the topic. The winner of this year's Star of GK audition is quite pretty and sweet. Jin Yao. She's not bad, but her breasts are a little small. Her second and third breasts are bigger, but I heard that they were augmented. How do you know that? Wei Liao was speechless at Tang Chuan. Oh, I know women better than any of you. Don't be stubborn about that. Tang Chuan was proud of himself. Suyu drank quite a bit, and after the argument with Hua Xiqian, his mood became even worse. He put the half-smoked cigarette into the ashtray and extinguished it. Then he picked up the glass of red wine on the table and downed it in one gulp. Lord Su, do you want me to get you a pretty girl to keep you company? It'll be good for you to vent, Tang Chuan asked with a smile. No need, you can keep her for yourself. That's all for today, let's all go home. Suyu wasn't in the mood to drink anymore, so he took the initiative to leave. The three of them walked out of Seductive Fox and drove home. Wei Liao was a two-timer. Other than going out with Suyu and the others, he went home when it was time. Tang Chuan continued fooling around with the two beauties in his arms. No one knew where he went to fool around. After Suyu got into his beloved Lamborghini Sixth Element, he wasn't in a hurry to start the car. He just sat there quietly. Suddenly his phone beeped. He opened it and saw that it was a private message from Huamin on Weibo. On the 28th of this month, Qin Chu and I are holding a makeup wedding at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel 9 a.m. Are you free to come? After Suyu read the message, he felt as if something was stuck in his heart. Chapter 1434. However, he still replied with 2 words, it's convenient. This time Huamin invited a lot of friends, including colleagues from Southside and the First Hospital. They all made it clear that they wouldn't accept any gifts. Yes, she didn't need any gifts for her wedding, she only needed blessings. She just wanted her friends and family to witness her happiness with Qin Chu. As for Suyu, she originally wanted to ask Jiang Shaowei to pass the message to him. However, after thinking about it, that would be too insincere. There was nothing going on between her and Suyu, so why didn't she say it herself? Therefore, after thinking about it, Huamin sent this private message. Suyu immediately replied. After that, the two of them didn't say anything else. Huamin then posted a thought-provoking message on Weibo. There are no two people who are completely compatible in this world, only two hearts that accommodate each other. If you change a little, I'll change a little too. Although everyone will gradually lose themselves in the end, they can become the most tacit couple. Love is never a matter of one person. If you continue to believe in love and happiness, then sooner or later, that person will raise a ring and smile at you and say, please take good care of me for the rest of my life. After Huamin posted on Weibo, it instantly became the hottest topic on Weibo. Many true fans also jumped out to send their blessings. Mion, you're going to have a wedding. That's awesome, I'm looking forward to the moment you put on your wedding dress. You'll be so beautiful. Dr. Hua, everyone says it's going to be on the 28th of this month. Is that true? Are fans allowed to attend the ceremony? I want to go. Hua, you're finally going to have a wedding with Mr. Qin. Wow, it's so romantic just thinking about it. I wish you all the best. I wish you happiness. Huamin, congratulations on your marriage. Hoo, if you get married, what will happen to our Lord Su? To the one above, are you on the wrong page? This isn't Su Yu's Weibo, this is my Mion's Weibo. I'll always support the Qin and Hua couple. Love. I'm so happy. Mion, you're the best. You deserve to be happy. After Huamin posted on Weibo, Jiang Shaowei immediately reposted it and tagged Huamin, Yuxing, please take good care of me. My Wei Liao told me this at his wedding. Now I think he's quite an artistic person. My Mion, you have to live happily ever after. When Huamin saw this, he immediately replied to Jiang Shaowei with a kissing emoji. The relationship between the two was self-evident. On the other hand, Song Yisher's Weibo remained silent. Everyone guessed that she might have completely given up on Qin Chu, so she didn't respond. South Hill Manor. Huamin was lying on the bed, playing with his mobile phone and chatting with many people about his marriage. That was when Jixin's video call came in. Sis, what's going on? What do you mean? Huamin looked at Jixin amused. You want to hold a makeup wedding? Yeah, half a month later. Yeah, why are you in such a hurry? In a hurry? I don't think so. You're too cruel. I have a competition at school in half a month. Then don't come back. Huamin pursed his lips. How can I not go to your wedding? I don't want to study anymore, ha. Wait for me. Oh right sis, tell my brother-in-law to prepare a red packet. I'll escort you in the car. If there's not enough red packets, I won't get out of the car. Money grubber. Huamin laughed and scolded him. In northern China, it was a custom for the bride's brother to sit in the car with the bride on the wedding day. When they got out of the car, they had to give the bride's brother a red packet. Otherwise, the bride wouldn't be allowed to get out of the car. Therefore, boys with older sisters could basically make a fortune on their sister's wedding day. With Qin Chu's wealth, Jixin would probably become a tycoon in an instant. After chatting for a while, Huamin was a little sleepy, so he hung up the phone and went to take a shower. Su Yu's private mansion. When he drove home, he was surprised to see his mother peeling an apple in the living room. Why are you here? Su Yu was a little surprised to see his mother in his private mansion. Chapter 1435. I missed you. You're such a heartless child. You haven't been back for so long since you moved out. Your grandpa has been nagging about you. I've been too busy recently and forgot, Su Yu said perfunctorily. Come sit down. Lady Su patted the seat next to her. Su Yu took off his jacket. Inside, he was wearing a white Chinese-style undershirt. It was very trendy. Did you drink? Lady Su asked when she smelled the alcohol on Su Yu. Yeah. Su Yu nodded. Lady Su handed him a peeled apple. Have some fruit first. Su Yu took it and took a bite. Then he leaned back on the sofa behind him. I saw the news today, Lady Su said word by word. Oh. Qin Chu replied nonchalantly. Are you sad? What do you think? Su Yu smiled bitterly and took a big bite of the apple. Listen to mommy and forget about it. That child might not belong to you in the first place. Lady Su liked Huamin very much and wanted to see if her son had a chance to develop a relationship with Huamin. Later she found out that the couple had a very good relationship. Lady Su immediately dismissed the idea of letting her son interfere in their marriage. She also arranged a lot of blind dates for her son, but they all ended in failure. I know you don't have to remind me. But mommy feels bad seeing you like this. I gave birth to you. How can I not know what you're thinking? Lady Su looked at her son with tears in her eyes. Mom, I'm really fine. I'll be fine after a while. After the wedding you should go abroad and relax. I'll get someone from the family to take care of your company so you don't have to worry. Mrs. Su had already made up her mind to transfer people from the Su family bank to come over. No, I won't leave. I still have to attend the wedding. Son, how big of a heart do you have to attend the wedding? She invited me. I have to go, Su Yu said word by word. As long as Huamin wanted something he would satisfy her. Are you going to stay single for the rest of your life? Su Yu didn't say anything. Huamin is definitely not part of our family. Can you stop thinking about him? I'm not missing her. I miss her so much that I can't let her go. Su Yu looked innocent. He wanted to forget Huamin more than anyone else. He wanted to let go of everything. But when it came to matters of the heart, could it be picked up and let go just like things? If he was that kind of person, would he still be considered immortal? Then he would become an immortal or a Buddha. Then Lady Su burst into tears after hearing her son's words. Mom, why are you crying? Su Yu's hair stood on end. I'm just worried about you. You're so stubborn. When you were young, you were sad for so many years, even when your dog died. Now that you're seriously in love with a girl and she's about to get married, you're still like this. How can I be at ease? I'm not going to become a monk. I think my feelings for Huamin will fade. After all, as time passes, all feelings will disappear. She has her own family and children in the future. I can't always be alone, right? Do you really think so? Yes. Then when can you get married and have children and let Mom have grandchildren? Lady Su asked expectantly. When I'm able to accept other women, then I'll be able to. Su Yu gave a vague answer. What if you can't meet someone like that for the rest of your life? I don't think I'm that long-lasting. A lifetime is too long. Who dares to say a lifetime? Su Yu smiled. Okay, my Empress Dowager, can you stop crying? When you cry, even my dad is scared. Don't mention your dad. That guy only cares about the Su Corporation's bank. Money, money, money. I haven't seen him for almost half a year. Su Yu's father was always at the headquarters in Jing City, so he rarely came home. Could it be that my dad has an outsider's mistress? Lady Su immediately punched her son. Chapter 1436. Don't talk nonsense. Okay, since you have the strength to hit me, it means you're fine. You should go home, I'm sleepy. I'll be going then. You should go home more often. Your grandpa hasn't been feeling well lately and cancelled a few business trips. Okay, I'll go back for dinner tomorrow. Lady Su nodded in satisfaction and left Su Yu's private mansion. The next morning, Huamin drove to a luxury store in the city center to buy a few pairs of wedding shoes. However, he ran into Hua Xiqin here. Beside him was a pretty girl. Huamin didn't know Wang Shasha, so he didn't recognize her. Mion, are you really going to have a wedding? What? Do you have a problem with that? Huamin glared at Hua Xiqin and asked coldly. If I say I do, will you give up on the wedding? Hua Xiqin was still smiling. Huamin, on the other hand, was furious. Hua Xiqin, who do you think you are? What a joke. I'm telling you, even the gods can't stop my wedding, let alone you. I must marry Qin Chu. Really? I hope you can get what you want. But the world is unpredictable. Little sister Mion, you shouldn't be so sure. Then we'll see. Huamin's tone towards Hua Xiqin was very rude. Hua Xiqin turned around and left, no longer in the mood to continue shopping. After Huamin left, Hua Xiqin didn't seem to want to continue shopping either. He turned around and left. President Hua, I haven't bought any shoes yet. Wang Shasha said, feeling wronged. Hua Xiqin didn't say anything the whole way, as if he was thinking about something. After they got into the car, Wang Shasha finally couldn't help but ask, was that girl the Mion you've been talking about? What? Hua Xiqin looked up, his gaze extremely rude. I just thought that she looked quite ordinary. I thought she was a beauty. Wang Shasha deliberately said with jealousy. Indeed, before she met Huamin in person, she always wondered what kind of woman could make someone like Hua Xiqin fall in love with her. However, when she saw Huamin in person, she was a little disappointed. Huamian wasn't as beautiful as she had imagined, nor was she as alluring as she had imagined. She was even secretly happy. If Huamian wasn't as pretty as her, would Hua Xiqin fall in love with her after some time? When she didn't realize how angry Huamin and mean. She was still proud of herself. Hua Xiqin turned his head, looked at Wang Shasha's face and said word for word, let me tell you, someone like you can't even compare to Mion's finger. You don't deserve to be mentioned in the same breath as her. Then why are you still keeping me alive? Wang Shasha said this in a fit of anger. To her surprise, Hua Xiqin pushed open the car door. Get out now. Seeing that Hua Xiqin was really angry, Wang Shasha's tone softened. President Hua, I didn't do it on purpose, Before she could finish her sentence, Hua Xiqin pushed her out of the car with all his might. She fell and broke her elbow. Then the Rolls-Royce Phantom sped away. If Wang Shasha knew how important Huamin was to Hua Xiqin, she wouldn't have dared to say that. She was even a little scared. She was used to living a luxurious life. If Hua Xiqin didn't keep her in captivity, then where would she go? Wang Shasha's confusion towards Hua Xiqin had turned into fear, and now she was dependent on him. Whether it was mentally or financially, she had unknowingly begun to treat Hua Xiqin as the most important man in her life. She didn't even know what her relationship with Hua Xiqin was. He provided her with food, drinks, and expenses and gave her everything, but he didn't touch her. This kind of abnormal treatment made Wang Shasha feel confused. After Huamin ran into Huasiqian, she was no longer in the mood to buy shoes. She drove straight back to Sky Blessing Court to pick up her mother, and then drove to the Qin Manor. Today was the big day before the wedding. Chapter 1437. Qin Chu's father couldn't leave the hospital. His physical condition didn't allow him to, but when he heard that his son and daughter-in-law were going to hold a wedding, he couldn't stay calm anymore. He immediately arranged for him to go home for a couple of days. At the very least, he had to visit his in-laws before going back to the hospital. The attending doctor, Dr. Liu, personally called Huamin and agreed to let him come back. Huamin was worried about his father-in-law's condition, so he contacted the Qin family's private doctor, Dr. Tian, to take care of his father-in-law. He was afraid that there would be an emergency. Ever since Huamin and Qin Chu got together for more than a year, the two families hadn't officially met. Because of what happened in the past, there was a barrier between them. Also, Lady Qin used to be very arrogant and bullied Huamin's mother many times, so there was a grudge between them. But now that the two children were married, their relationship with their parents-in-law had eased a lot. Therefore, everyone decided not to talk about the past and to have a proper meal together. When Huamin drove to the Qin family's house, Qin Chu wasn't home yet. The housekeepers were busy in the kitchen. They seemed to have bought a lot of ingredients and were preparing. Today Yang Merong wore a peacock blue coat and a silk scarf that Huamin bought for her. Her hair was tied up and she wore light makeup. She looked very dignified. Lady Qin also wore a red velvet retro cheongsam and a white pearl necklace around her neck. Qin Yuman wore a gray Chinese tunic suit. Because he couldn't move, he had to rely on crutches. Lady Qin carefully helped him down the stairs. "Dad, Mom." Huamin greeted them with a smile. The Qin family couple was very embarrassed and nodded at Yang Merong. "In-law, you're here," Lady Qin spoke first. Yang Merong also felt a little awkward and nodded. "Sit down, Huan, make some tea," Lady Qin called the housekeeper. Then the four of them sat down on the sofa in the living room. "In-law, are you feeling well?" "I'm in good health. I heard that big brother Qin is sick." "How is he?" Yang Merong asked. "She's doing okay. She's been hospitalized for treatment." "Mian, you've been running around all this time. You're such a good child." Qin Yuman kept praising Huamin. "Dad, this is what I should do." Yang Merong held Huamin's hand and said, "My daughter is actually a little clumsy and doesn't know how to say nice things. However, she's very honest and knows how to use her actions to prove her sincerity. I should have visited you guys a long time ago. You guys are older than me and you're my brother and sister-in-law. It's all in the past." At this point Yang Merong paused. "In-law, we were foolish in the past. Please forgive us. What happened can't be undone. In the future we will definitely treat Huamin like our own daughter. Don't worry." Lady Qin spoke very sincerely and she also felt very guilty. In the past she always felt that she was in the right and that she did it for the sake of her son. Now she felt that her selfishness back then had caused an unhappy family and a lack of warmth. This made her feel very uneasy. "Yeah, I'm not a narrow-minded person. Since we're all in-laws, we're family. Let's not talk about the past. Just like you said, it's all in the past. From now on we'll be fine and harmonious. Let's not worry about our children." Huamin thought that it would be a little awkward. However, he didn't expect them to open up as soon as they met, so it seemed very natural. Yang Merong chatted happily with the Qin clan couple. 11:45 p.m. Qin Chu's car drove in from outside. "Young master is back." The housekeeper reminded them and they all stood up. Chapter 1438. Qin Chu opened the door and walked in. "Mom, you're here." Yang Merong nodded with a smile. "Chu's back, let's eat." "Let's go, in-law." Lady Qin intimately pulled Yang Merong to the dining room. The five of them sat down one after another. There were 18 dishes on the table, all of them dazzling and alluring. "Oh, there's so much good food." Huamin licked his lips. "Mian, eat more. You've been too tired lately and need to nourish yourself," Lady Qin said. "I know, Mom. Come on, let's eat. You eat more too, in-law. Don't be shy." "Okay." During the meal, Lady Qin saw that the atmosphere was good, so she took the initiative to say, "In-law, the two kids are going to have a make-up wedding. Before that, let's talk about the betrothal gifts." Betrothal gifts. No, the makeup wedding is just a formality. What's more, ever since we got married, Chin Chu hasn't mistreated me. He's given me a car and a house, and he even bought me such an expensive house. I'm already very satisfied. In-law, you don't have to be so polite. Yang Merong wasn't a greedy person when it came to money. She always thought that having enough money to spend was enough, and she wouldn't make things difficult for Hua Min. Although her family wasn't rich, she couldn't do anything that would make the Qin family look down on her. This was called dignity. In-law, this is a northern custom. We can't avoid it. Let's just follow the rules left behind by our ancestors. Oh, it's really not necessary. Sis-in-law, don't be so polite. Yang Merong insisted on not accepting the betrothal gifts. Qin Yumin slowly said, In-law, don't think too much. We still have to give you the betrothal gifts. It wasn't easy for you to raise 2 kids all these years, and the Qin family is very grateful that you raised Hua Min. We're proud to have a daughter-in-law like you. We still need the betrothal gifts, don't refuse. Just as Yang Merong was about to say something, Qin Chu interrupted, Mom, don't be so polite. If they want to give it to you, just take it. They're rich. Hua Min couldn't help but laugh. He immediately nudged Qin Chu. Lady Qin glared at her son. You rascal, you're already trying to curry favor with your mother-in-law. Traitor. After he said that, everyone laughed. At this time, Lady Qin took out an exquisite box from her bag. Then she handed it to Hua Min. Grandma Qin Chu left this for me. It's a bracelet made of top-quality jade. I'm giving it to you now. I hope you can pass it on to your descendants. Thank you, Mom. Hua Min smiled warmly and carefully took the bracelet. Qin Chu smiled. Mom, why don't you just say that you want Mian to have a son and pass it on to your daughter-in-law? Go away, what are you talking about? I like boys and girls. If it's a girl, I'll give it to my granddaughter, Lady Qin laughed. Just then, Qin Yumin put down the wine glass in his hand and slowly said, In-law, if you're too embarrassed to say it, then I'll tell you about the betrothal gifts we discussed. It's part of the process. Okay, I'll leave it to you, brother. Yang Merong couldn't bring herself to ask for a betrothal gift. So if Mr. and Mrs. Qin took the initiative, it was exactly what she wanted. Dad, forget about the betrothal gift, we've been married for more than a year. It's just a make-up ceremony. There's no need to be so formal, Hua Min tried to persuade his father-in-law. Chapter 1439. How can we do that? We can't be careless. Marriage is a big deal, we still have to go through the necessary procedures. Listen to Dad, be a good boy. Qin Chu reached out his hand and placed it on Hua Min's little hand. Qin Yumin then looked around solemnly and slowly said, My wife and I discussed it. As for the monetary gift, we've decided to give Hua Min 3 houses. There's a mansion in Hawaii, a villa in Suzhou, and a seaside house in the city. They're all renovated. 3, that's too much. Hua Min was a little embarrassed. His in-laws were indeed rich. They gave him 3 mansions in 3 different locations. Then Qin Yumin said, We've already found a lawyer and are handling the transfer of ownership and justice. They're all for Mian. Dad, you're so biased. I don't have any. Qin Chu chuckled. Don't you have another wife? After Qin Yumin said this, everyone laughed. Then Qin Yumin continued, We're also planning to change Mian's car. Dad, this car is pretty good, I like it, Hua Min quickly said. We know you like Audi, so we bought you an Audi S8. It's silver gray, it suits your low-key style. Hua Min, Lady Qin added, we also bought you an Audi A8L and AQ7. You don't have to feel much, you can switch between them. Hua Min, 3, Qin Yumin, let's not talk about jewelry. Our company has a lot of jewelry, you can choose whatever you want. Also, we kept a set of rubies and diamonds for our in-laws. Yang Merong, Lady Qin, Mian, don't be fooled by the bracelet your grandma left behind. It's a little old-fashioned, but it's priceless. An American couple once offered me 120 million yuan, but I didn't sell it. Hua Min, Qin Yumin, they already have a house and a car. As for the money, we won't give them too much. These 2 don't lack money, so we've prepared a cash gift of 8 million yuan. We'll transfer it directly to Hua Min's card. Hua Min, Lady Qin, it's not a lot, but we'll treat Mian well as usual. Yang Merong, in-law, that's enough. Then as today is the day before the wedding, our 2 families will definitely have a meal together. After that, Qin Yumin took out 2 golden bank cards and handed them to Huamin. This one is for you. There's 999,000 in it. I hope you and Chu will be together forever. Thank you, Dad. Huamin took the gold card and was still very excited. Qin Yumin took out another one and handed it to Yang Mirong. Just take this. It's our gift to the in-laws. It's 666,000 yuan. I hope everything goes well for you in the future. No, I can't accept this. Yang Mirong refused. However, Qin Chu helped her put it away. Mom, take it. It's a little gift from my parents. The password for the gold card is 6 zeros. You can change it later, Lady Qin added. After the meal, Huamin didn't know if he was full or not, but he knew that he was rich. 3 mansions, 3 luxury cars, 8 million yuan, and a set of ancestral bracelets worth 120 million yuan. Huamin wanted to shout to the whole world that he was rich now. After the meal, Yang Mirong was sent back to Sky Blessing Court by the Qin family's chauffeur. Huamin and Qin Chu stayed behind to drink tea with the Qin family's parents and talk about the wedding details. It was obvious that Qin Yumin was very happy. He was like a child, constantly coming up with ideas and innovations. It wasn't until 10 o'clock that Huamin and Qin Chu finally drove home to South Hill Manor. On the way, Huamin hesitated for a moment and said, "Honey, do you know about Dad's condition? Isn't it high blood pressure?" Qin Chu had been very busy recently. He only knew that his father was hospitalized due to overwork, but he didn't know the details. "Honey, not only is Dad's blood pressure high, but we also found a black shadow in the center of his brain during the CT scan." After saying this, Qin Chu slammed on the brakes and the car screeched to a stop on the side of the road. Chapter 1440. Black shadow in the brain? Qin Chu frowned slightly. Huamin nodded, took out his phone and opened a CT scan he took. Qin Chu looked at it and didn't say anything. He had a background in neurosurgery, so he knew very well what kind of situation this was. A black shadow in the brain was usually a bad thing. "Honey, don't think too much. Maybe it's just a small blood clot." Huamin comforted him softly. "If it's a blood clot, it should be able to absorb slowly. But it's been so long and it's not moving at all. Must be a tumor. Maybe it's benign. Brain surgery isn't a big problem now. Didn't you succeed with Xixin's surgery?" "Honey, you don't have to comfort me. I'm a neurosurgeon too and I know the result too well. How can a tumor in the brain be benign?" Qin Chu never thought that his father would have such an unacceptable disease. "What should we do now? Should we convince Dad to go to the States for surgery?" Huamin asked. "It's useless to go to the States. The amount of money spent on cancer research in the States every year is mind-boggling. But after all these years, cancer is still a disease that the world can't do anything about. They also need surgery and we don't know what will happen next. If it's really a malignant tumor, how long does Dad have left?" Huamin asked carefully. "A few months at least, a year at most." Qin Chu's tone was heavy and his eyes were filled with unspeakable sorrow. "So soon?" Huamin had never been so close to a patient with a brain tumor, so he didn't know much about it. "Then, what should we do now?" Huamin panicked and didn't know what to do. "Send Dad back to the hospital tomorrow for conservative treatment. First, don't stimulate the nerves in his brain so it won't spread." "Okay then, should we postpone our wedding? It won't be too late to do it after Dad gets better," Huamin suggested. "Dad, he won't be in a better state in the future. We have to hold the wedding. Otherwise, he might not even have the chance to see it." Qin Chu sounded very sad. He wasn't being an alarmist. He had been at Harvard Medical School for many years and he knew the trend of this disease too well. His father's condition was not bad now. Once his illness acted up, he might not wake up until the wedding. How could she witness his and Huamin's happiness then? "All right, I'll listen to you." Huamin nodded. Neither of them slept well that night. The next morning, Qin Chu drove to GK headquarters. Huamin, on the other hand, invited Zhu Lingling and Jiang Shaowei to go shopping to buy the things they needed for their wedding. The media continued to spread the news about Qin Chu and Huamian's wedding on the 28th. A lot of people were paying attention to this wedding. They wanted to see how grand GK's president's wedding would be. Song family Villasong Isha rarely left the house these days. She basically stayed at home and didn't go out. Mrs. Song was worried about her daughter's condition and kept comforting her. Sure, are you in a bad mood? Song Isha didn't answer. Is it because of Chin Chu's wedding? No. You're still denying it, you're so stubborn. Mrs. Song thought that Song Isha was depressed because of Chin Chu and Huamin's wedding. Mom, they won't be able to get married, Song Isha said word for word. Sure, are you going to do something again? Please don't. If you really piss off Chin Chu, he won't let you go. Mrs. Song was afraid that her daughter would cause trouble again, so she immediately tried to stop her. Chapter 1441. It's not that I want to do anything, don't worry. I don't need to do anything. Someone won't be able to sit still. Song Isha smiled strangely. Huamin was going to hold a wedding, so Huasiqian wouldn't be happy about it, would he? It would definitely be very lively. The truth was she was looking forward to Huasiqian making a move. If he could really break up Chin Chu and Huamin, then she would be able to sit back and enjoy the benefits. Huo Corporation headquarters. Huasiqian held a small dart and threw it at the target. One dart at a time, hitting the target every time. The 28th was a good day and there were less than 2 weeks left. His Mion couldn't wait to announce her relationship with Chin Chu. He couldn't wait to confess his feelings for Huamin. Just thinking about it made him excited. President Hua, the people you wanted to see are here. Good, you can go now. Huasiqian put down the dart in his hand, picked up a white handkerchief and wiped his hands. Then he licked his lips and went to his office. He really had to hurry up. He had to hurry up and give his little sister a huge surprise. GK headquarters. Chin Chu finished his work and was about to leave when the door to his office opened and a young woman walked in. She was about 1.7 meters tall with a tall and slender figure and a perfect body shape. Most importantly, she had a face. She had a beautiful face with big eyes and long eyelashes. Her mouth and nose were perfect. She was the kind of beauty that could topple cities. She was as beautiful as Emo Shuier and Jian Tong. President Qin, you are? Chin Chu frowned slightly. The woman froze slightly as if she didn't expect President Qin to not know who she was. President Qin. I'm Qin Yao. Chin Chu didn't say anything. He didn't seem to remember this name. Seeing Chin Chu's silence, the woman introduced herself. President Qin, I'm the champion of the Star of GK. Is something the matter? I actually wanted to come over and talk to President Qin about the details of the contract I signed. You can talk to the person in charge of GK Entertainment. Chin Chu's attitude was cold. Then he turned around and left. Qin Yuyao, who was dressed in formal attire, was left holding a folder. She was at a loss for what to do. Back then he had chosen to participate in the competition partly because he was confident in himself and partly because he had connections. Whether it was online voting or mobile voting, she was leading by a wide margin. From beginning to end she had never seen Chin Chu even once. However, she was no stranger to Chin Chu. When she was on a plane she accidentally saw Chin Chu in a financial magazine for the first time. She could feel her face turning red and her heart racing. She even felt that this was the man she was looking for. Qin Yuyao did not come from a wealthy family, but she was still from a scholarly family. From her grandfather to her parents and aunts, they were all researchers. His grandfather was the head of a well-known scientific research institute. They could be considered a high-ranking official's family, comparable to Gao Ran's family background. Her family was against her entering the entertainment industry, but she still did it without hesitation. She didn't want to be famous or rich. She just wanted to be closer to Chin Chu. However, during the finals of the championship competition, Huamin was the only one who presented her with the trophy. From beginning to end she had never seen Chin Chu in person. Therefore she boldly came to the president's office today with the contract. She wanted to get closer to him. Unexpectedly she was doused with cold water. Christian, why are you here? Yang saw Qin Yuyao when he came in to deliver a document to the president. President Qin. Does he always treat people like this? Qin Yuyao felt wronged. Like what? Bing Bing is so cold. Oh. Basically that's our president's personality except for one person. Who? Qin Yuyao was curious. Chapter 1442. A young lady. President Qin is only nice to a young lady. He only smiles at a young lady and is gentle to a young lady. He coaxes her, tells her jokes and feeds her food. Assistant Yang became more and more envious as he spoke. A young lady isn't that pretty either? She thought back to the woman in a black suit who presented her with the award at the Night of Champions. Qin Yuyao snorted. Assistant Yang was immediately displeased. What a joke. Is it up to us to decide if a young lady is pretty or not? As long as President Qin likes her. Plus, I don't think it's important if a woman is pretty or not. What's important is her temperament and upbringing. A young lady's temperament and upbringing are beyond the reach of most women. No woman can win a man's respect with her looks alone. I think it's more important to be good both inside and outside. Otherwise, she's just a pretty face. Yang purposely emphasized the word face. After he finished speaking, he turned around and left. Qin Yuyao was so angry that her face turned pale. He's just a stinky assistant. Why is he so cocky? Geez. Qin Yuyao, who considered herself the most beautiful woman in Sea City, had never seen Qin Chu fail. However, she wasn't discouraged. She believed that as long as she could stay at GK, she would eventually get close to Qin Chu. There was no rush. After all, she was still young. She was only 22 years old, 3 years younger than Hu Min. Inside the Hu Corporation's conference room, the dozen or so tycoons all looked troubled and didn't say anything. Everyone, what do you think of my idea? President Hu, this is very risky. It's like sacrificing 8,000 of your own to hurt 10,000 of your enemies. Even if you achieve your goal in the end, the losses outweigh the gains. Who said it's not worth the losses? You've injured 10,000 of your enemies and lost 8,000 of your own. In the end, don't you still have 2,000 more chips than your enemies? Hu Xiqian laughed. Nonsense. Hu Xiqian, your idea is too crazy. If you want to play, you can play by yourself. We won't play with you. What you're doing is against the rules. You'll be despised in the industry. Plus, the consequences of doing this are immeasurable. What if we can't control the situation in the end? Are we going to die together? How could that be? We will definitely be the winners in this batch. Let's see if you dare to do it. I agree with President Zhang. Xiqian, you're still too young and impulsive. You can't do this. You shouldn't do this. When we were old, we followed the rules. If we break the rules, we'll suffer the consequences. You guys, the older you get, the more cowardly you become. Hu Xiqian picked up a piece of gum and placed it in his mouth, chewing casually. He didn't seem to care about these big shots at all. If you think we're too old, why did you ask us to come here? Go ahead and play by yourself. Then a man in his 50s wearing a gray suit stood up angrily. Before he could walk to the door, he heard Hu Xiqian blow bubbles and say, Uncle Zhang, if your wife finds out that you have a 12-year-old illegitimate son, will she fight with you? From what I know, your wife owns 15% of your company's shares. Plus, she owns more than you. If you divorce and split up, you'll lose half of your assets and your reputation. What nonsense are you talking about? What illegitimate son? The man pointed at Hu Xiqian and yelled. Chapter 1443. Hu Xiqian chuckled. But then again, your youngest son looks a lot like you. You probably don't want to send him overseas to study, right? 6th Elementary School has a pretty good environment. Every day he arrives at the back gate of the school at 7:10 p.m. in the nanny van and arrives at the back gate at 3:15 p.m. sharp. Then he goes to a taekwondo dojo called Soaring Ambition to learn taekwondo. At 4:30 p.m. he goes to the Tan family's private restaurant for dinner. You investigated my son? No, I'm not investigating him. I'm just reminding you that life is full of accidents. I really don't want you to lose your son when you're old. Hu Xiqian, you motherfucker. The old man was so angry that he pounced on Hu Xiqian. Hu Xiqian suddenly turned around and grabbed the old man's fist. Then he squeezed hard, and the sound of bones breaking could be heard. Then the old man screamed in pain. Everyone else was dumbfounded by what they saw. They didn't think that Hu Xiqian would be so bold. Old Zhang, I call you Uncle Zhang because I'm giving you face, but don't you dare challenge my bottom line. Otherwise your Zhang family might be doomed. Whether or not your youngest son can grow up safely depends on which side you take this time. The old man was in so much pain, but he didn't dare to yell at Hu Xiqian anymore. He knew Hu Xiqian very well. He had no bottom line and was willing to do anything. Come in. Immediately, a few security guards pushed open the door and entered. Take Uncle Zhang to the hospital, Hu Xiqian said as he spat out the gum in his mouth. Then he looked around and continued to ask, does anyone have anything else to say? Everyone remained silent and lowered their heads. They didn't want to agree, but they didn't dare to deny it either. Hua Xiqian pulled out a chair and sat down. He glanced at the old man on his left and said, Uncle Gao, your eldest daughter has a great body. I have a set of her DVDs. He's a bit hardcore. She went to a nightclub to look for gigolos, but she actually chose African men. If this gets out, President Hua, I agree with you. I fully support you. Without waiting for Hua Xiqian to finish, the old man immediately expressed his stance. Hua Min looked at the other old man beside him. Uncle Yang, I was the one who got someone to cover up the news of your son raping a female university student a few days ago. If this gets exposed by the media, President Hua, I also support you. Brother Jiang. This time he didn't wait for Hua Xiqian to speak. That person immediately said, I also agree with President Hua. After this person finished speaking, the others all nodded in agreement. The scene was completely different from before. These people were all smart people. None of them wanted Hua Xiqian to expose those scandals one by one in front of them. So they might as well obediently agree. Upon seeing this, Hua Xiqian smiled proudly. Since everyone is so supportive, then I won't hold back. When the time comes, I will inform everyone of the specific plan. Also, if today's meeting gets leaked, then everyone's families might have to hold funerals. Of course, I'm just saying this up front. Everyone is so smart, I don't need to say more. I'm sure you won't dig your own graves. After the meeting, the dozen or so people left one after another. Hua Xiqian was in a great mood as he walked downstairs. Wang Shasha ran over from afar and wrapped her arms around Hua Xiqian's arm. Xiqian, I was wrong. I won't dare to say a word about Hua Min ever again. Can you forgive me? Hua Xiqian narrowed his eyes and looked at Wang Shasha. Chapter 1444. Forgiving you is something God did, and my mission is to send you to meet God. After Hua Xiqian said this, Wang Shasha's entire face turned pale. Then she saw Hua Xiqian pinch Wang Shasha's cheeks with a smile. Why are you so nervous? I'm just teasing you. Wang Shasha finally relaxed. Hua Xiqian was in a great mood. He put his arm around Wang Shasha's shoulders, got into the car and drove off. Some media outlets accidentally caught them together, and on the same day, there was a headline titled President of the Hua Corporation is suspected to be in love with Miss Song. Then a reporter took a picture of Song Yisher with sunglasses on, looking very haggard. This made people think that something happened between the two of them, and that they were going to have a divorce. Imperial Star headquarters, when Suyu came out of his meeting, he saw Tang Chuan sitting on the sofa in his office with his legs crossed. Lord Su, the meeting's over. Yeah, why are you here so early in the morning? Don't tell me you're interested in one of our female artists? Suyu teased. No, I've been tired recently, so I'm going to take a break and give up on women. Give up on women? Suyu obviously didn't believe him. Yeah, it's only temporary. Tang Chuan emphasized. I don't believe you either. If you can give up on women, I'll give up on food. Tang Chuan. What the fuck, Lord Su, do you look down on me that much? All these years I've never thought highly of you. You're probably the type of person who can't live without sex. Hee hee, you know me best, you can read my mind, Tang Chuan sighed. Nobody knows a son better than his father. Lord Su rarely spoke like this. 3 seconds later, Tang Chuan realized that he had been played by Suyu. She was so angry that she rolled up a paper ball and threw it at Suyu's head. I don't have a father as young as you. I don't have such an unfilial son. Suyu continued to tease him. Tang Chuan. Did you get triggered by Hua Min's wedding? What the fuck? Your mouth is as venomous as a crane. Do you know how poisonous the crane top red is? Have you drunk it before? Suyu argued. Tang Chuan. When he saw that Tang Chuan had nothing else to say, Suyu chuckled softly as he sorted out the documents sent by the finance department to review. Lord Su? Were you invited to Hua Min's wedding? Tang Chuan asked tentatively. Yes. What does N mean? Yes or no? Tang Chuan was not afraid of death and continued to gossip. Yes. Then, you really plan to go? Suyu's hand froze slightly in the middle of signing documents. Then he looked up at Tang Chuan and calmly asked, why wouldn't I go? Fuck, how big of a heart do you have, big radish? You still want to attend the wedding of the woman you like? Won't it hurt your heart? Do you need me to bring you some pills? I'm afraid you won't be able to take it. No, I'll take it. Actually, sometimes when I think about it, being able to see the happiness of the person I like is also a kind of happiness. After Su Yu finished speaking, he lowered his head and continued to sign documents. Lord Su, you're becoming more and more noble. No, I'm just continuing to like her in my own way. I told her that liking you is my own business. No one has the right to stop me, including Huamin himself. So, even if she holds a wedding and announces to the world that she's Qin Chu's woman, that's her business. In my heart, she'll always be the woman I like, it's that simple. Fuck. Lord Su, you jerk, I'm about to fall in love with you. Chapter 1445. I don't like men, thank you. If I were a woman, I'd fucking sleep with you, Tang Chuan said with a smile. If you're a woman and you're not a decent person, I'll definitely stay far away from you. Fuck you. Tang Chuan originally thought that Su Yu's condition was getting worse and worse, because Huamin's wedding was getting closer and closer. But that wasn't the case. On the contrary, the closer it was to the wedding, the calmer Su Yu became. He was more open-minded than anyone else. He was right. If he couldn't personally make Huamin happy, then seeing her happy with his own eyes was also a kind of happiness. Su Yu's love was no less than anyone else's. He just didn't want to show it, he kept it all in the depths of his heart. Hua Xiqian's been pretty high profile lately. I wonder what he's up to? Tang Chuan changed the topic. I'm not interested in his business. Ever since Su Yu fought with Hua Xiqian at Seductive Fox, he didn't have a good impression of this person at all. Right now, there's a rumor going around that he's going to divorce Song Yishe. I don't know if it's true or not, but I don't want them to divorce. They're such a good match. A fucker and a dog forever, Tang Chuan cursed. Before Hua Xiqian achieves his goal, he won't divorce easily. After all, the Song family can help him with a lot of things, Su Yu analyzed. Tang Chuan nodded in agreement. That's true. It's not a good thing for him to be so high profile lately. I have a feeling that, before Huamin's wedding, he's going to do something, Su Yu said slowly. That night when they met, Hua Xiqian immediately asked if he wanted to do something for Huamin's wedding. Su Yu could feel the unwillingness in his tone. Besides Qin Chu, Su Yu also knew that Hua Xiqian had feelings for Huamin. He was such a smart person, so he was able to notice all the details. Song Yishe was right. The way Hua Xiqian looked at Huamin was different from everyone else. It was a look that said, "You're the only one in the world I can see." Her gaze was gentler and more affectionate than Qin Chu's. This shouldn't be the way Hua Xiqian looked at Huamin. Therefore, Su Yu vaguely felt that something big was going to happen this time. And it wasn't a good thing. What can he do? How can that piece of trash Hua Xiqian be a match for Qin Chu? Tang Chuan had always looked down on Hua Xiqian. Hua Xiqian didn't have a good reputation in the entertainment industry, and he had always been a second-generation rich kid with an awkward identity. Because he was adopted and not the biological son of the Hua family, he was looked down upon by everyone. Tang Chuan also thought that an adopted son like him wouldn't be able to do anything big. At most, he would be a prodigal son who drank and flirted with girls. However, Su Yu didn't see it that way. He was able to successfully marry Song Yishe, steal the land from Qin Chu and gain Mayor Song's approval. This wasn't something a simple person could do. Hua Entertainment had only been open for a little over a month, but its revenue had increased by dozens of times. It was a counterattack. Su Yu had been in the entertainment industry for a long time, and it was rare for him to see a company that was able to stabilize itself as soon as it entered the industry. Right now, there were 3 major companies in the entertainment industry: GK, Imperial Star, and the Hua Corporation. The Hua Corporation was the latest company to enter the industry, but they had the most artists, the most works, and the most popularity. There were always interesting topics to talk about. However, Su Yu also knew that Hua Xiqian didn't enter the entertainment industry just to make money or get a share of it. He was targeting Qin Chu. Don't underestimate Hua Xiqian, he's not as simple as he looks. In fact, he's the most scheming and cunning person I've ever met. Su Yu commented seriously. Chapter 1446. I admit that he's sinister. Tang Chuan nodded. So, you should stay away from people like him because he'll do anything to get what he wants. You might not be able to do what he's capable of doing. When someone has no bottom line and dares to do anything, you're no longer their opponent. I don't want to talk to him. Damn, he's so sinister, like a psychopath. Tang Chuan really didn't like Hua Xiqian, because he always thought that Hua Xiqian's smile was creepy. Hua Xiqian's gaze was also very annoying. Do you want to drink tonight? No, I'm going back to the manor tonight to spend time with my parents and grandpa. Your dad's back. Yeah. Suyu nodded. Do you want to drink with us? My grandpa was talking about you and Wei Liao last night. No, I don't care if your dad's home, but I'm more scared of Uncle Su. Ah, he's too old-fashioned. He starts lecturing us about politics as soon as we see him. Tang Chuan stood up with a smile on his face. Oh, right, I forgot to ask you, how much are you planning on giving Huomin's wedding gift? I heard that Qin Chu and Hua Xiqian already said that they won't accept gifts, but I don't think it's your style to go empty-handed. Pa, after all, he's the person you like. You're asking for it, what does it have to do with you? Get out. Suyu didn't know whether to laugh or cry as he chased Tang Chuan out. In the end, he didn't say what he was going to give or how much he was going to spend. After Tang Chuan left, Suyu put away the smile on his face and carefully opened the drawer of his desk. He took out a pink invitation card. The secretary delivered it this morning, and it was an official invitation from GK's public relations department. The entire page was pink and there were cartoon images of the bride and groom looking very cute. After opening it, he saw words on the left and a photo of Qin Chu and Huomin on the right. It wasn't a wedding photo, but rather a photo of them wearing school uniforms and carrying backpacks. Huomin combed the hairstyle of the female lead in his arms, youthful and invincible. Qin Chu, on the other hand, had a rare smile on his face. He carried his backpack with one hand and wrapped his arm around Huomin's shoulder with the other. Both of them smiled sweetly. Suyu felt a dull pain in his heart. Huomin looked so handsome when he smiled, but it was never for her. If one day Huomian could lean on his shoulder like this and smile so sweetly, then he would have no regrets even if he died. His gaze slowly shifted to the left. There were a few lines of small words written in clerical script. It was especially warm. It said, "You are like the touch of peach blossoms when they first bloom. You amaze time and soften the years. You are like the radiant sunshine and the wading of the green mountains and clear waters. A river of spring water, a touch of longing, a tree of green leaves and a heart full of love. You were with me when I was young. We have been together for 7 years and we will enter the next 7 years together and the next 7 years after that until the end of our lives. The breeze in March is like the innocent face of a child, and I am willing to make an eternal promise in this quiet time. Chumion, in this life we will go through thick and thin together." Unlike other wedding invitations, there were so many words, but there was not a single word of love between the lines. There were no mushy words or honeyed words, but it was full of touching words. Even Suyu felt his heart slowly melt when he saw it, especially the last 8 words. In this life we will go through thick and thin together. Such a simple but firm promise meant that Qin Chu and Huomian had acknowledged each other's hearts. Suyu sighed softly and carefully put away the invitation. At this moment, Hua Xiqian was holding a glass of red wine and standing by the window of the apartment. Wang Shasha's hands were tied with a belt, and her body was covered in bruises. Chapter 1447. Hua Xiqian didn't have sex with her, but he did torture her. There were all kinds of S&M props and costumes. Wang Shasha's horizons were broadened today, but she gritted her teeth and didn't dare to make a sound. The stockings on her thighs were in tatters, as if she had been raped. There were deep marks on her wrists. She didn't even dare to cry. She was the one who came back to beg for forgiveness. Hua Xiqian was in a great mood after torturing her. He suddenly thought of something and took out the dazzling invitation card from his bag. He reached out his hand and gently stroked Huomian's smiling face in the photo. "Mian, you're so beautiful." Then he picked up a pair of scissors and cut the invitation card in half. He picked up a lighter and lit up Qin Chu's half. Looking at the words that were gradually engulfed by the flames, he sneered, "In this life? Together in the wind and rain? Really? I really want to see how far you two can go together." Hua Xiqian downed the red wine in his hand and walked up to Wang Shasha, looking down at her from above. "Did you enjoy it?" Wang Shasha froze slightly and then her face turned red. Although Hua Xiqian didn't have sex with her, what they did just now was pretty intimate, right? At least there was some intimacy. When Wang Shasha thought of this, she was shocked by her own thoughts. Why did she feel pleasure after being tortured by the man in front of her? Was she a pervert too? Wang Shasha was a little embarrassed to say it out loud. "But no matter what, you're still a fake. How can you compare to the real thing?" Hua Xiqian pinched her chin and smiled. "Xiqian, I'll listen to you. Let me be with you." Huasiqian's eyes immediately softened after he heard this. If only Mian could be as obedient as you. It would save me a lot of trouble. After Huasiqian spoke, he turned around, picked up Huamin's photo and kissed it passionately. It won't be long this time, it really won't be long. Huasiqian's voice was filled with uncontrollable excitement. GK Corporation. Huamin held the invitation card and couldn't bear to put it down. She designed the page, and the words inside were indeed written by Qin Chu. Honey, isn't this a little too mushy? I've written something even more mushy. Qin continued to act arrogant. Is it really okay? Won't people think we're flaunting our love? Huamian was conflicted. Isn't Dovey? Qin's reply again. Yeah, that makes sense. Huamin sent the invitation card to Xiaowei and Lingling on WeChat. The two of them immediately exploded and began to comment on the matter. Huamin couldn't stop smiling. He never thought that holding a wedding would be such a blissful thing. He could decide a lot of the details himself. Honey, what should we prepare for the guests? Candy or chocolate? How about a gold commemorative coin? That's too extravagant. Huamin was speechless. Then give us GK's jewelry. Diamonds are good. Honey, you can't be so stubborn. Diamonds are expensive. We're holding 500 tables this time. There will be more than 5,000 guests. If you give us presents like this, we'll go bankrupt. Huamin chuckled. It's okay as long as we can hold a wedding. I don't mind going bankrupt. Haha, if you lived in ancient times, wouldn't you be a fatuous ruler? Huamin laughed heartily. His heart was filled with sweetness. Just then Assistant Yang knocked on the door and walked in. Sir. As he spoke, he glanced at Huamin awkwardly. Is it inconvenient? I'll go out first. Huamin stood up to leave. Tell me, I don't keep secrets from my wife, Qin Chu ordered Assistant Yang. Chapter 1448. I just received news that the 13 major real estate developers in the city have teamed up and started to lower the prices. To less than 4,000 yuan. Less than 4,000 yuan? Are they crazy? Qin Chu was completely confused. Real estate wasn't like other industries, where prices could be raised or lowered as they wished. There were market rules. After the global financial crisis in 2008, the domestic real estate market went up. Although Xi City was now the largest city in Jie Province, the prices weren't as scary as those in Jing City. They were only around 8,000 yuan per square meter. Basically, the dozen or so major real estate developers in the city all had the same price. What they were competing for was location, amenities, and services. GK had been in the real estate business for more than 20 years and was considered a high-end brand. The prices weren't cheap, but the quality of the houses was superb and the services were top-notch. Therefore, they had a good reputation in the city. When Qin Yuman was in power, he was very traditional and stuck to the rules. However, he still considered many things and was willing to do something practical for the benefit of the people. When Qin Chu took over as president, the prices were already as high as 8,000 yuan per square meter. If anyone tried to lower the prices without permission, they would be boycotted and blacklisted by their peers. Now, without any written or verbal discussion, the 13 major real estate developers suddenly lowered the prices to less than 4,000 yuan. It was a crazy move. How is that possible? Their production costs are more than 3,000 yuan per square meter. If they can't sell the houses for 4,000 yuan, not only will they not make money, they might even lose money. They won't even be able to earn back the advertising and endorsement fees. Are they crazy? Huamin thought the same. I don't know the details yet, but it's a mess outside. The customers who paid deposits to buy houses have all come back for refunds and are looking for other places to buy. After 3 seconds of silence, Qin Chu looked at Yang and said, Tell everyone that we'll have a meeting with the higher-ups in 10 minutes. Sir. Huamin frowned slightly. This situation wasn't optimistic at all. It really caught them off guard. That night, the citizens of Xi City went into a frenzy. All the major media outlets fought to broadcast this news, and it even caused a sensation in the country. Many residents from other cities flew here to buy houses, just so that they could sell the houses when the prices went up. The truth was, these fried rice balls were the most hateful. Houses were originally prepared for groups of people in need. Some people needed a house when they were getting married. Some people's original houses were too old and they needed to move. Some people had a second child and there wasn't enough space, so they needed to move to a bigger house. These people were the ones who needed houses, but after the prices were messed up, the commoners didn't care about that at all. It was as if they didn't want money. Some even went out to borrow money from loan sharks to stock up on houses. During the meeting, Qin Chu told everyone about the situation and the consequences of this incident. For the time being, he thought of some countermeasures. As for the specifics, he still had to continue observing to see if it was a prank. How long could the sale of houses last? When Qin Chu came out of the conference room, Huamin walked up to him and asked, "Honey, how was it?" "Let's wait and see for the time being. I wonder what their goal is." Qin Chu didn't think that his popularity would be so bad that those people would lose money to trick him. Therefore he felt that it might be a deliberate prank. A day or two passed, so he didn't take any deep countermeasures. Huamin felt a bit uneasy. "I have a feeling that this incident isn't that simple. What's the situation at GK Real Estate?" Huamin asked worriedly. Chapter 1449. We lost a lot of money. A lot of people checked out. Those who paid the deposit all defaulted on their contracts, and some owners who bought the houses are asking to check out. This is ridiculous. Huamin was worried. "Don't worry, let's wait and see." "Okay. Let's go, I'll take you to eat." Qin Chu held Huamin's hand and the two quietly went to the company's cafeteria. In front of the TV, a large group of reporters surrounded the president of the Zhang Corporation, Zhang Liangui. "President Zhang, may I ask why you lowered the price this time?" Zhang Liangui's smile was uglier than his crying face. "To benefit the people." "Ah, President Zhang, you're indeed a famous entrepreneur here. You're a good role model. Only around 4,000 yuan is acceptable to the people." Zhang Liangui smiled and greeted the reporters, but in his heart he was cursing Hua Xiqian thousands of times. If that bastard Hua Xiqian didn't force him, he wouldn't have done something so stupid. This morning he sold a house worth over 10 million yuan. After calculating all the expenses, he lost 7 million yuan. In one morning, 7 million yuan disappeared just like that. He didn't know why Hua Xiqian did this, but he knew that Hua Xiqian was up to no good. Hua Xiqian must have a motive for tampering with the real estate market. Later in the afternoon he began to understand. There were 15 real estate companies in the city, and 13 of them worked together to suddenly lower the price. The only ones that didn't do anything were GK and the Hua Corporation. He heard that a lot of people went to GK to check out, but the Hua Corporation didn't lose anything because they didn't have any important projects on hand. It seemed like Hua Xiqian had been planning this for a long time. Hua Xiqian's motive this time was obvious. At 8 p.m. that night, the Hua Corporation announced that the new residential area Bluestone Huayu would open at 8 a.m. tomorrow, and the price would be set at 3,999 yuan. As soon as the news came out, the entire city was excited to buy houses. Bluestone Huayu was a real estate project that the Hua Corporation had been preparing for, but it hadn't opened yet. The location was not bad. It was at the edge of the 4th Ring Road. Although the traffic was not very developed, it was not in the city center. Fortunately, there was a natural lake nearby called East Lake. The environment was beautiful and the scenery was picturesque. At first, everyone guessed that the starting price of this neighborhood would be around 9,000 yuan. It was so high-end. He didn't expect that it would be set at 3,999 yuan all of a sudden. This was simply a huge discount. This incident put GK in an awkward position because GK had just opened a new project last month, which was a residential and office building. It was called Lafayette Residence. It was located near the 2nd Ring Road in the city center. The opening price was 7,500 yuan. Now that they were compared, the difference in price was half. As the saying goes, there is no harm without comparison. When the Hua Corporation also announced that they were willing to lower their prices, GK was crushed by the last straw. He became the public enemy number one. It wasn't that Qin Chu didn't want to lower the price, but that Qin Chu couldn't afford it. GK had been focusing on quality over the years, unlike those unscrupulous developers. When Chairman Qin was still around, he had always emphasized the importance of quality. All of GK's houses cost more than 4,000 yuan. Including promotional fees and other expenses, GK made less than 1,000 yuan per square meter. For a big developer, this was already a reasonable price. If GK announced that they were going to give a discount to Xiqian, they would have to pay almost half the price. Other people could afford it, but GK couldn't. GK's main business was real estate, and they had sold too many houses over the years. Now that they had a lot of new projects on hand, if they were to give a discount on all of them, GK wouldn't be as simple as losing 7 million yuan in one morning like Zhang Liangui. They would have to pay so much that they would vomit blood. Therefore, GK didn't say anything at this time and insisted on the original price. However, some people who didn't know the truth started cursing and even accusing them of moral blackmail. That night, an anonymous netizen posted an article called, "All the real estate developers in the city are giving out benefits, but GK is the only one that's black-hearted." Chapter 1450. The article pointed out that GK was an unscrupulous developer who had been cheating people out of their money. Now that everyone had lowered their prices, he didn't. A developer like this was so inhumane that no one wanted to buy his house and shut him out. However, as soon as the article came out, a lot of people followed suit. It wasn't clear if they were real netizens or paid posters. Anyway, there was a lot of support and a lot of commotion. Some netizens even went to Huamin's Weibo to curse at him. Qin Chu also had a Weibo account, but he never posted anything and didn't allow people to comment on it. Therefore, these netizens only went to Huamin. Huamin had two identities on Weibo. Chief of Neurology at Southside Recuperation Center Huamin, wife of GKCO Qin Chu. Huamin scrolled through Weibo when he saw the news. He found that Weibo had fallen again. The number of comments increased from 10,000 to 60,000 in an instant. It was too frightening. Huamin, ask your husband to come out and give us an explanation. You guys cheated him so badly. He bought your house last year after we got married and now you're lowering the price. Bitch Hua, I didn't know you and your husband were both black-hearted businessmen. I'm going to hate you now. Ask Qin Chu to come out and explain why he didn't lower the price. He should at least give us an explanation. The internet says that your husband isn't a Chinese citizen and that he got a green card a long time ago. I don't know if it's true, but if it is, then I can understand why he cheated us. He's not from our country, right? Did you become an American citizen with your husband after you got married? Do you dare to show us your passport? Mian, I believe in you, and I believe that your husband has his reasons. Can you give us an explanation? Dr. Hua, what's going on? Why are so many crazy people cursing you? What's going on? Hua, talk to your husband. Everyone lowered the price, so he should lower the price too. Otherwise, he won't be able to sell his house. Isn't it better to lower the price and make less money? Your real estate business is actually very profitable. Let's sit down and watch the show. A spectator who doesn't know the truth floats by. Mian, is your wedding still on the 28th? Would he be affected? I always feel scared, as if you guys can't get married. Don't scold me, I really have this feeling. I don't know why, but it's very strange. Huamin let out a long sigh and silently exited Weibo. Showing off the household register and passport? On what basis? American citizenship? What a joke. Forcing us to lower our prices? If we lower the price, we will lose everything in less than a week. If that happened, Qin Chu would really go bankrupt. Laymen like them would never know the consequences of such a large consortium selling houses at a discount. That would really be digging his own grave. Qin Chu had been working overtime that night to discuss countermeasures. Huamin was sitting in Qin Chu's office, waiting for her. Then she chatted with Jiang Xiaowei and Zhu Lingling on WeChat about what had happened. Headquarters of Imperial Star Su Yu got off work half an hour early. He drove straight to the Hua Corporation. Today he was going to beat up Su Yu. He couldn't believe that they would team up with those old men and force GK to lower their prices. How shameless is this method? Hey sir, who are you looking for? At the entrance of the Hua Corporation, the receptionist stopped Su Yu. Tell Hua Xiqian to get the hell out here, Su Yu yelled with a dark expression. Chapter 1451. I'm sorry, but President Hua already got off work. He got off work? Su Yu didn't believe him. Yes, President Hua left after a meeting this afternoon. If you want to see him, you can go to his house. Coward. Su Yu clenched his fists. Did Hua Xiqian take his words for granted? Just a few days ago he warned him not to hurt Huamin. Now that he did something so despicable and shameless, GK was in deep trouble. Huamin must be worried sick right now. Today he saw a lot of people scolding Huamin on Weibo and he was furious. He even created an alternate account to scold those who scolded Huamin, but it was useless. The pressure from public opinion was overwhelming. Inside Huasiqian's private mansion, he was wearing a bathrobe and sitting by the swimming pool, looking very relaxed. Just then his phone rang. What's going on? Who told you to collectively lower your prices? This is called malicious competition, do you know that? Mayor Song was clearly angry as he questioned Huasiqian sternly. Isn't it good to help the people? Father-in-law, why are you angry? Don't try to fool me with these childish things. You want to go against Qin Chu, don't you? Mayor Song had been a leader for many years, so he immediately knew who Huasiqian wanted to go against. Judging from the current situation, Qin Chu was indeed in deep trouble, and he was hesitant to move forward. Smart, Huasiqian admitted. Why did you do that? How did he offend you? I watched Qin Chu grow up. Not to mention my personal relationship with his father. You can't do that to me. What a joke. This is between you and him. What does it have to do with me? Huasiqian chuckled. The king of the land has already been given to you and Qin Chu didn't say anything. Why are you still being so aggressive now? I'm sorry, father-in-law. You may not understand the situation. If Qin Chu hadn't taken away my most precious thing, I wouldn't have to force him like this. What precious item? Mayor Song asked. Well, you can ask him yourself. Oh, by the way, if you can convince him to give me back what he took from me, I can consider letting him go. Nonsense. Stop it right now. You're not just a personal grudge now. You've dragged our entire city's real estate industry into a whirlpool. This is going to cause a big mess. Huasiqian sneered. Then you should think of a way. Otherwise, what's the point of being the mayor? Huasiqian, you. Before Mayor Song could say anything, Huasiqian hung up the phone. He had no time to waste with that old man. Mayor Song was in a meeting in another city and he couldn't come back. He had no choice but to call Qin Chu. Qin Chu had just finished an emergency meeting to discuss tomorrow's plan. Uncle Song? Chu, are you busy? Yeah, I just finished a meeting. I'm in a meeting in F City and I'll be back the day after tomorrow. I know what happened at home and it's a bad influence. I already called Huasiqian, but he's being stubborn. He's determined to deal with you. I know. Qin Chu was very calm. Chu, what did you take from Huasiqian? What? Qin Chu frowned slightly. When I spoke to him, he said, you took something from him, something important. What I meant was that if it's not important, you should return it to him. Sometimes he's really like a mad dog. He does whatever he wants without caring about others. He's lawless. It's not worth it for you to confront him. It's better to offend a gentleman than a villain. Qin Chu was silent for 5 seconds. He understood what Huasiqian meant. Snatched away his most precious thing? He was probably talking about Mian, right? You're tuning in to the Biao's Wuxiao Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.